It is 9:08 and 30 seconds on my Cordaro Jewelers watch. This is the Bob Cordaro Show, and I am he, broadcasting today from the United States of America. I can prove it because our president has just gotten us a trade deal that makes Europe pay us. Fascinating. It's also the place with the brave, like the veterans we salute today, thanks to John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality, like Brian Diaz, Michael Rushton, Parsons sections of Wilkes-Barre, Staff Sergeant Norman Lewandowski, Kingsley, James Smallacombe, German, Jay Smith, Salem Township and Chickasha, and Thomas McHenry, Stillwater. Well, they made us and kept us free. We're celebrating their lives having lost them this year. The United States of America, founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our amazing, incredible, irreplaceable founding fathers, that the government is not, shall not be, cannot be our parent, our guide, our direction, our salvation, not any of these things, but is nothing more than a necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. It isn't everything, and it isn't the country. The United States of America, the country where, for the first time in human history, freedom was declared to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom was not to be parceled out to groups or controlled by government or government officials, because our great American Constitution ensured and codified freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press, whether we like what they say or not. Now, armed with these freedoms, and only because they had them, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects, and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show, well, it'll always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so, with our essential preamble dictated, we can gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising a sanctuary of sanity to all of you in a world where we've got a leadership class and an entire political party which has gone insane. Oh, Lordy, 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 Lordy. The lies just keep coming. The lies keep coming from the left. I'm listening to the morning show, and, well, people are worried about because of the new, and I've heard it called a budget bill, the big mediocre bill. It's exhausting. It is exhausting. We, however, are indefatigable in our defense of the truth, fact, and reality. We will not waver. And one of the main reasons, there's just too many good people, even if they disagree with us politically, there's too many good people to save the country for. And that extends to the entire world. We've got to save the world. And it's up to us, even though our fellow Americans are fighting against us, basing their opinions on lies. I mean, blatant lies, just fiction, fantasy. But that's what we're going to do. Hey, so and here's just an example. Last night, old friend of mine, Joe Luciano, one of those guys you idolized when you were young, football player for Dunmore and then the Scranton Eagles. And just always admired the guy. And so he was texting with me when I was in prison, just to keep my spirits up, and which it did, obviously. And so he had a little gang over his house last night. And, because we'd said we're going to have a cigar together. Well, finally it comes. And we finally did it after all these years. And what a great pleasure. He's got it's not a man cave because it's on the first floor. Well, I guess it is in the basement, but it's sort of an indoor-outdoor room. We hung around there. I did not eat. The food was fabulous, and I'm looking at it, and I can't eat after 7 o'clock or I'll die. Sometimes you get away with it, but very seldom. But a great time with a great gang of Dunmorians last night. And it was one of those long overdue, but it seemed like we've been doing it forever at the same time. Isn't that great? Somebody texted in, it must be one of the trolls. I'm excited to pay a Trump tax of 50% on goods from the EU. LTD, Bobby. I don't know what LTD means, but the tariff, okay, by the way, no tariff on our goods going to Europe. And I'm telling you, you're guaranteed one of the people who said, oh my God, Trump's tariffs are going to raise inflation. And when they didn't, now what did you say? Now you just say it again? There is, I want to repeat this, there's not even a correlation between tariffs, American tariffs, on foreign goods and inflation. Never mind causation. There's not even correlation between the two. So you're repeating the idiots who've been wrong about everything. Why do you want to be a sock puppet for the wrong? Those who are wrong always. I don't again, this mentality it's a fascinating mentality. And it's almost like they would revel in discomfort as long as they can blame Trump. And by the way, the same people who tried to pretend that Biden's policies didn't jack up gas prices, utility prices, food prices, prices for everything. It's unbelievable. Now here's the bottom line. And by the way, because people don't want to listen, those of you who do deserve an explanation. Because you got to be saying, oh my God, there's going to be inflation because of the tariffs. Well, by the way, it didn't happen, okay? So let me use reality as the response to this idiocy. And idiocy by so-called experts doesn't make it any less idiotic. You falling for it over and over and over again makes it idiotic on your part. Now, a tariff is a fee on goods that are imported. And countries have them. It was actually the main source of revenue in the United States until the income tax was passed, 1914? And it never triggered inflation, ever. Because it has nothing to do with inflation. And the reason is, if you look at the economy foolishly, ignorantly, the 15% tax on a bottle of wine coming into the country, 50% tariff, tax, whatever you want to call it. And you would say, oh, well, that's going to cost 15% more. Well, no, it doesn't happen. I'm the guy who wants to sell the wine into the United States. At 15% higher, I'm going to realize, well, people aren't going to buy my Burgundy. They're going to buy Cabernet from California. So I'm going to eat most of this. Likewise, the distributor, all the people on the supply chain, they are going to say, okay, we've got to shave a little bit down here because the California Cabernet people eat our lunch. And the government takes the money in, but it never surfaces in the products you buy. That is how it works. People make rational decisions in the supply chain, so you'll continue to buy their product. So this is what happens. From Rich McHale, winning, he says. LTS back at you. So look, that's how it works. Trump knew this. I mean, you guys think he's a blathering idiot. I don't think he's a genius. I don't think he's intelligent. I think he's incredibly smart, though. He gets it. He knows how business people are going to respond to these tariffs. He also knows that with the $750 billion that's part of this trade deal that Europe's going to buy in American energy, he's going to make Europe stronger and our energy industry stronger here, and the money's going to come here. He also knows the $600 billion that the European Union companies are going to now invest in the United States is going to benefit us with more jobs. And since there'll be no actual price increases on European imported goods, we'll be fine. We win and win and win. See, and he understood that at least right now, this time in history, and by the way, it could be fleeting. It could be our last opportunity to level the playing field on international trade, which we never did. No one ever did. That if we don't do it now with our market power, we buy more than the rest of the world. Everybody wants to sell into the United States. They'll eat the tariff. And we'll take in between $200 and $300 billion in tariff revenue. The government will. And it will not cost you anything. It's the way it goes. Somebody said, oh, the companies are going to take in less profits. Makes sense. Thanks for explaining it in a way I can understand. Well, they're going to make rational decisions. There are alternative products. Cabernet, I'm a wine guy. By the way, I had some Fortissimo last night at Joe Luch's. It was fantastic. I'm like, my God, that's going to be my table. He said, take the bottle. Well, the last time I said no, I didn't understand the question, so I took the bottle home. And it could be one of those things where just, and does this ever happen to you? The people you're with and the place you're at is so, just so great that everything tastes better. I may drink that wine at home and say, not interested, but we'll see. Anyway. Everybody reacts. Their competitors, the people who distribute it here, the people who produce the wine in Europe, and in the end, you win. And Trump knows this. Because if France ever lost, just France, for example, because I'm focusing on one product just to make it comprehensible. If France ever lost the Burgundy drinkers in the United States of America, they'd have to shut down. They're not going to give that up. Anyway, let's take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Plain Jane's on the phone, and I want to talk to her. But we've got to hear from our great sponsors first. A little history, a little music, and then Plain Jane. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Is there any guy in the world that wouldn't think this about some woman? Elvis Presley, Murph says he had the #1 hit in the United Kingdom with that song, You're the Devil in Disguise. We got to play one more verse, Bulldog. And 1914 this date. How about this? Man, how they figured these things out. What a great country. Transcontinental telephone service beginning this date, 1914. Amazing stuff. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. We promised you Plain Jane. We give you Plain Jane. Plain Jane, how are you?
I'm wonderful, sir, and I hope you are and all your listeners.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am, and I think most of them are too. For those of Plain Jane, for those of our listeners who are not doing wonderfully, we wish them the best.
Yes, we do. And let me tell you, I've had many days where I wasn't doing my best, so I'm in there with them too.
Good.
I got to ask you a question. I don't know how you're getting it from the young people, but a lot of them think that everything should be now. He's laying the groundwork for not even the next generation, the generation after. Like when my great-grandson, he's 9. This is really for his generation, setting everything up. It's not going to happen overnight. That bingo, okay, this is done, that's done. It's like when people stopped smoking. You know, everybody was up in arms and this and that. It's for the next. We're laying groundwork now.
Yes.
But you know what? And you're an attorney, so maybe you'd know that Ilhan Omar. She came in this country illegal, and I think if you come in illegal, and then you become legal,
yeah, with the fake marriage to her brother,
that shouldn't come.
Yeah.
That should be fruit from the poisonous tree. Strip her of her citizenship. Send her back to the Sudan. She even said she hates this country. And if I made a book. If I wrote a book, I'd call it Musical Chairs. Who was sitting behind the resolute desk of the United States of America? Who was acting as president? Musical chairs. Who was sitting behind the resolute desk? Well, I don't think he was. I think he was sitting behind a cardboard desk, to tell you the truth. But who? You know what? I want to see some shackles going on people.
You're in a high dudgeon today, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in a mood today. So I gotta call you.
Well, I mean, you would think somebody should go to jail for letting Ilhan Omar into this country, and then it always amazes me, Plain Jane. You've got somebody like Ilhan Omar. She says this country is irredeemably racist, that white people are evil, all this. And she's elected to the United States Congress, proving that the country isn't racist.
Yeah.
She's the proof
where
of her
these
lies.
people coming from? Look,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I was born and raised in New York City. I'm a native New Yorker. And I can't believe a native New Yorker would put this guy, whatever the hell his name is, now he's back in Uganda enjoying life, who never had a job in his life. I've had 30. Hell, I'll run for mayor, and guess what? I'll put Chris Silver in there, and I'll have all the prisons. They'll all be in there. They loot, you go.
Listen, we need a mayor in Scranton, Plain Jane. Never mind New York. You got to run for mayor in Scranton.
You know, this is ridiculous what's going on. These people are embracing communism like it's some kind of love affair going on.
And again, it's what I was talking about. They, for whatever reason, they choose to believe lies. But all you have to do with communism is look back at how it has functioned. It's a nightmare. like a
As an
literal
attorney,
nightmare for the people living under it. And yet these same, the Bernie Sanders, the Mamdanis, the Ilhan Omars,
Mamdani,
they
that's
get
his name.
elected. It's
I
mystifying
got
to
a
me.
question. This is your lawyer hat. Shouldn't be against the law for all these channels and all these newspapers to absolutely, unequivocally lie to their audience, be it on paper or on TV or on radio?
Well, there's a market
there be
for
a
it.
law
There's a
against that?
market for it. No, freedom of I say it at the beginning of every show. Freedom of the
speech.
press. Freedom of the
Right.
press, freedom of
It's on
speech.
the state.
They are allowed to do whatever they want. Let's not make it too hard. It's our job to pay attention and not fall for it. And I'll take that responsibility
I
on.
hate to tell you, I watch City Hall on Tuesday nights. There are people that all they watch is CNN or MSNBC.
I know.
They have no idea what's going on in the real world.
Give them a wide berth, Plain Jane, and talk about cherry pie with them instead of politics.
And I don't know what's going on in Scranton anymore.
All right, hey,
don't know.
Plain Jane for mayor.
Thank you for letting me vent.
Listen, Plain Jane for mayor. Just remember that.
Somebody asked me to do that once because I got in front of City Hall and I said, take the little bleep, bleep, bleep and put them and make them take fingerprints off cars and this and that and the other thing. And somebody saw me at Garrett. He had to run for mayor. I said, no, they'd all be behind bars. all these rotten teenagers that are doing, they'd all be locked up.
Well, Plain Jane, now that you've vented, stay cool.
Thank you.
Stay cool,
you too, sir.
and we'll have a good day. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you,
too,
my
sir.
dear.
Bye-bye.
Great pleasure. Well, let's take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. We'll come back. We've got two veterans we want to pay tribute to this hour. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you by our man John Basiliga and his incredible family of companies. Just to remind you, this weekend, it's the Jazz Festival downtown Scranton. Well, Atera 519 and Sergey's, the nightclub, they're all in. Friday at Atera, Jazz 6 to 8 while you dine. Then downstairs at Sergey's, Jazz from 7 to 10, no cover. Saturday, Sergey's has Jazz 7 to 10, no cover. And you could dine downstairs with a delicious filet or halibut dinner while listening to your favorite jazz music. I can't wait. And let's not forget the jazz brunch on Sunday. Atera 519 and Sergey's, the place to be, Jazz Weekend, Scranton, PA. Brian Diaz. We lost him at just the age of 40, April 20th. He was born 1985. He brought boundless energy, laughter, strength to all who knew him. A proud United States Marine corporal, he exemplified courage, resilience, determination, both in uniform and throughout the challenges life brought him. In 2008, his life was forever changed when a devastating car accident left him quadriplegic and blind. Despite the life-altering injuries, Brian, he defied every clinical expectation, surviving far beyond what doctors predicted as he continued to be a light in the lives of his family and friends. His strength was not only physical, but deeply spiritual. Even in his limited state, Brian continued to bring joy, laughter, and love to those around him. He's survived by his father and mother, stepfather, 3 siblings. He was a son, a brother, a Marine, and a friend, each role marked by love, loyalty, and a bit of mischief. Laid to rest in Nicholson. Brian Diaz. Michael Rushton. We lost him July 8th. He was from the Parsons section of Wilkes-Barre. Devoted husband, loving father, proud grandfather, and a great-grandfather. He was 87 when we lost him. His quiet strength, deep faith, and unwavering devotion to family. He was born in Wilkes-Barre, graduated St. Mary's High School. Bachelor's degree in education from King's College. He proudly served us in the United States Army, a chapter of his life that instilled in him a sense of duty and resilience that carried through everything he did. He was an educator and committed employee of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. June 5th, 1965, he married the love of his life, Barbara Matico. They built a beautiful life and were together for 60 wonderful years. He loved country music, and you could hear it throughout his house. He loved the Yankees, too. Leaves behind his beloved wife, Barbara Rushton, his 2 sons, adored grandchildren, a great-grandson. Michael Rushton. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by John Basiliga, Atera 519 and Sergey's heading into this incredible jazz weekend. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Joe tells us today sunny and hot with a chance of a stray shower, 92. Tonight partly cloudy, 68. Wednesday cloudy and muggy with showers and thunderstorms, 92 degrees. Thursday, well, back to fall weather almost. Cloudy and cooler with showers and thunderstorms, 77. And then it's going to be high 70s and 80 through the weekend, I heard Joe tell. So that's good. Wow, that's a great great tribute to both of those veterans, huh? Amazing. I, I love Trump. I love that they issued a statement on The View, because if you watch The View for just the 1 hour, you leave dumber than you started. It's that idiotic of a show. But I wish he wouldn't do that. Let it go. They're going to fail on their own. Lies can only go so far. Stupidity can, disguised as wit and intelligence, can only last so long. Let it go, but he can't. But again, I see why people despise him, because he points it out when he's won. Oh, Lord. And then, of course, this is The Doors. The number one hit this date, 1967, Light My Fire. Bob Cordaro back on the eponymous program. Let's go real quick, because Judy Zabel's on the blower. She's got the Republican Women's Fundraiser she's talking about. Tell us all about it, dear.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
Yeah, you are. You sound good today.
Oh, thank you.
Our fundraiser for the Marjorie Scranton Republican Women is August 10th at Glenmara Country Club. The cost is $40 per person. Reservations need to be made this week. You can make those by calling 570-280-4370.
$280-4370.
Correct.
I repeat that because I know what I'd be doing. Racing for a pen. Racing for a pen right now that we barely use them anymore.
Right.
Give me that number again.
I understand.
What's that number again?
570-280-4370.
All right. Well, this is a great event. Tell us a little bit about it.
It is. We are honoring Kristen Nash and Robin Medeiros this year. Both of these ladies have done a lot for our party and for our women's group, and we thought it was appropriate to honor them. Stacey Garrity will be our speaker.
Our state treasurer.
Yes, she is our state treasurer, and she has consented to be our speaker.
And she's a potential gubernatorial candidate against the wolf in sheep's clothing, our awful Governor Shapiro.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I hope that she does well. I'm all in with her. We will have raffle baskets. We'll have a drawing. Now, you'll need a ticket. If you don't have one, when you make a reservation, either leave a message or text that number I just gave and how many tickets you want, and you can pick them up at the reception table when you come.
Okay.
Because it's too late to mail them. I don't trust the U.S. mail. to get them to you on time.
So this is Saturday. What day is it? Oh, it's
this is
August 10th.
Sunday,
August 10th. Okay.
Starts at 11 a.m. and goes until 2.
We'll call in at a different hour next week so we could remind people even once again, okay?
Okay, that's great.
Nice event. And the Marjorie Scranton Council of Republican Women is just one of the greatest groups on the planet. It really is.
Well, thank you. We enjoy ourselves, and I would invite any Republican women to come join us.
There might be some Democrats who want to check you out too, so.
Yeah, there probably are.
A good gang.
The only way they can do that is to change parties.
All right. Thank you, Judy
All right.
Zabel. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Bob.
August 10th,
All right.
Stacey Garrity, the headliner, honoring 2 great women. Thank you. Time for Bloomberg Money Minute. We'll hear what's going on in the business world here at 9:49. My Picardo Jewelers watch says 9:50. This date, 1967, Frankie Valli, Murph tells us, had the number 3 hit with Can't Take My Eyes Off You. What a great song, huh? And 1958, in our history, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signs the National Aeronautics and Space Act, creating NASA. And then, look at this is the human condition. 40 years later, 40 years later, 50 years later, 60, it becomes sclerotic, and all of our innovation in space is coming from people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. So these things have a shelf life, particularly under government auspices. And then you got to move on. You got to switch. You got to shake them up. And that's what, fortunately, the Trump administration, look at what the government morphed into. These insane, ridiculous programs all around the world through USAID and other, and then within this country as well, to the point where you now have $1 trillion a year being spent on friends and supporters through nonprofits, consulting contracts with those nonprofits, big salaries through those nonprofits, and they're supposed to be distributing money for specific insane purposes, and we're running a $2 trillion deficit at the same time. It's unbelievable. You got to really shake things up. I told you my solution. You take the federal government, you cut it in half, and then you decide where to cut after that. Let's have a little... This is moving too slow for me in a lot of ways. I love it. We've never done better. We've never been smarter in how we've approached and attacked the government. So the regional experts, he texts in. He said, I disagree. I'm no dumber when I watch The View. They all talk at the same time, and it makes no sense anyway. That's the regional expert. And somebody else says they can rename The View The Joy Show because it will be a joy when it is canceled. LTS back at you. Oh, Lord. Well, the show has time guidelines. So thank God I've got my Bacardo watch. And they don't just sell the Bacardo brand watch, which is my favorite. They sell Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army, and Seiko. The Bacardo Jewelers, however, it's your watch store, tells me it's 10:02:20. Time for the news. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:09:39 in the great Northeast. This beautiful Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man John Basiliga, who reminds you, this weekend is Jazz Weekend at Atera 519 and Sergei's The Nightclub. We honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we lost this year, but celebrate this day, like Brian Diaz, Nicholson, Michael Rushton, Parsons section of Wilkes-Barre, Staff Sergeant Norman Lewandowski, Kingsley, James Smallacombe, German, Jay Smith, Salem Township, and Shickshinny, and Thomas McHenry, Stillwater. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that through our commitment to common sense, we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you. Thanks, Frank. One of my favorite songs. So as we start the next hour, let's see. Our man Sean from Larksville, he's not into watches. Sean, you got to go to Picardo's. Look at the watches, find one you like, buy it, put it on. You won't want to take it off. In fact, you'll keep going back and buying more. I'm not a watch guy. Somebody gave me, it might have been Cutie, one of those Apple watches. And I'm, okay, whatever. I want to see how far I walked, right? Not interested. And I got my Picardo watch, and I wear it every day, and I just love it. I love having this watch on. If you're watching on our live stream, you go to WILKnewsradio.com, and you press watch, coincidentally, and you can watch me with my watch from Picardo. I just love them. And that's old school, I guess. But, what is old is new. Very often, and I think that's the case here. Hey, let's go right to the phone. Gary from Mill City. Gary, how are you, man?
Good, Bob. How are you?
Great.
I love your stories on the bull mastiff. We had 4 of them in the past, and they are just great, great, great dogs and companions.
Aren't they? They really are.
You were talking about the government spending and stuff and what Trump is doing. And as I've told you in the past, I'm an independent. I consider myself an American first person.
Amen.
Since they nominated Romney, I left the Republican Party. And the Republican Party isn't doing near enough to help President Trump. Doge came up with, I don't know, it was over $100 billion in savings, and Congress actually enacted laws to put $9 billion of that into law. So personally,
I'm gonna disagree with you there. That's not the 180 billion. And I think it's a bit exaggerated. Understanding that part of it, the 180 billion that Doge found was actually saved. The $9 billion in rescissions was in addition to that. Now that gives you a sense, Gary, of how disastrous our spending is.
Oh, I know how
you could cut almost $200 billion, and they're still screaming and wailing and all that, gnashing their teeth, and yet we haven't even touched the deficit yet.
So everything the president has told us since he came down that elevator in 2015, the Russian collusion, the impeachments, the border, the taxes. Everybody laughed at him. Everybody said he was going to start World War III. Everybody said he was going to ruin the world's economy. He is bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars, and these tariffs just started. So I'm going to be 65 years old. No president, no member of Congress has ever mentioned, well, they were mentioned, but nobody ever took action, tariffs on other countries. They sold us out. They were either incompetent or corrupt. And President Trump is actually showing this country what a pro-American leader can do for us.
We've never seen anything like this since Ronald Reagan. We really haven't.
And I loved Ronald Reagan. I don't think Ronald Reagan come anywhere close to what President Trump is doing.
Well, he didn't have as amazing as it sounds thinking back to that time. He didn't have the complicated problems and the runaway government, the runaway lunacy of a Democrat Party that Donald Trump faces. He's facing a lot worse situation than Ronald Reagan faced.
Yes, it keeps going left and left. I don't even know if it keeps going more insane. I can't even say their policies are left. They're insane.
Yes.
But when people are voting, I believe a lot of our Republican representatives have to be challenged in the primary. I believe we need a lot of new leadership in Washington, D.C. I don't believe these people should camp out in office. A congressman 6 years, a senator 2 terms, and we get different people in there.
As long as we focus first, like, okay, let's think of it as we're looking at the illegal immigrants. Okay, we kick the criminals out first. In this case, we get rid of the Democrats first. Then we work on the Republicans we're not happy with.
I believe if the Republicans should have a massacre in the midterms, if they do it right, because the Democrats are sealing their fate with a lot of people, but the Republicans, for some reason, don't seem to focus on the Democrats. They just let the Democrat control the message, and they have no message right now. Thank you for your time.
All right, my man. Always a pleasure, Gary. Thank you. Guys, I have no problem primarying a Republican that you're not happy with. Some of them suck. But focus on the Democrats first. They're actually harming this country. Some of them are actually insane. That's where the pressure has to start. That's where it has to start. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We will return, and guess what? Lorraine has a poem. Procol Harum, Murph says this date, 1967. Same time that Frankie Valli was on the charts. They moved up to number 5 with their hit, A Whiter Shade of Pale. In 1967, accidental rocket launch on the deck of the supercarrier USS Forrestal. It was in the Gulf of Tonkin. 134 servicemen killed. And among the survivors, future Arizona Senator John McCain, U.S. Navy Lieutenant Commander. I have read, I'm not saying it for sure, that he was the cause of the problem. He screwed up, and he was a crazy guy when he was young, McCain. And he screwed up, and that's what caused the rocket launch on the Forrestal. And father was an admiral and got him out of it. But, yeah. And sort of credible sources saying that. Fascinating. It doesn't change anything now. By the way, one of the great listeners pointing out, U.S. pays $1 trillion a year in interest, and that Ronald Reagan doubled the debt. That was his failing. By the way, that was Trump's failing, really only failing in his first term. He acquiesced and conceded to the Democrats, who then controlled Senate and House, and increased spending, and the deficit exploded. And that was, again, to me, that was Reagan's only, I guess, the chip in his armor. Our guy, HVAC dude, he's a Tulsi Gabbard fan. I like her a lot, but only for limited purposes. You mentioned HVAC guy, the HVAC dude, that she's a moderate. That's the last thing we need is a moderate. Moderates got us where we are by acquiescing and giving in to the left-wing lunacy and the spending habits of Washington, D.C. And they went along with it. Oh, well, it's moderate. Let's compromise. And it led us to a lot of the problems we have now. All right. Well, as I see at my Bacardo Jewelers watch, is 10:26. Well, not necessarily time for her, but we're going to make time for her. Lorraine from Hazleton, she's got a poem. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi, Bob.
How are you? Don't be so excited.
Hanging in.
Don't be so excited.
Hey, my sundial here tells me it's going on 10:30.
Yeah, well, I love my watch.
Yeah, well,
I
listen,
love my Bacardo watch.
If you don't want that, sundial. If you don't want that Apple Watch, I'll take it. You know where I live. Just drop it off.
Well, when I go, the only time I use it now is if I go for a walk where I don't like a different path, and I'll measure the path. That's about the only thing it's useful for. All right. Well, are you ready with your poem, or
yes,
are you gagging
ready?
Down there?
Well, come down and check on me then. Okay. Right. Okay. It's called Miracles. We all need miracles in our lives, but sometimes they seem so far away. The only way miracles may begin to happen is if we kneel down and pray. They may begin today, or they might wait until tomorrow. If a miracle never takes place, our hearts begin to fill with sorrow. When you pray to God above, try not to be full of greed. He may not give you what you want, but only grant you what you truly need. I wish that I could take my own advice. Then my heart would be a little lighter. The present wouldn't look too bad, and the future might seem so much brighter. I won't wait for the sky to open or an angel to appear. The only miracle that I need is for God to take away my fear. If my doubts were replaced with reassurance and all my despair with hope, a miracle would surely take place. Then I could begin to really cope.
Nice. A little melancholy, but nice.
That's not melancholy. It's a truth. It's. Ay.
Well, it is melancholy. I mean, that you need hope and all. Yeah, come on, it is.
Well, it's not melancholy. It's reverent and it's nice and it's. Geez, if I have to say, no, don't critique my poems.
The bulldog's in there smiling for some reason. He's smiling. What are you smiling at me for?
Because he likes
Bulldog?
the poem.
What is that what it is? Bulldog likes the poem. Okay.
See, I know that. He's my buddy.
I liked it too. I'm just saying, a little melancholy.
Don't yell at me. Hey, don't yell. Lower your voice. Jeez. Now I'm getting.
Well, Lorraine, the heat wave is gonna break Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, I think it broke now. Are you there?
Yes.
Jeez. Now
You're trying to say jokes. Bulldog's in there smiling because he loves horrible puns just as much as you do.
Oh, you're the devil in disguise. Ay. Yeah. You're not even in disguise. You're out in the open.
Well, listen, my Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:30, which means...
Yes, I have to call you Fuzzy Wuzzy.
Yes, and then we wrap it up from there.
And I'm going to wrap you up.
Thank you, Lorraine. Always a pleasure.
Don't mention it. Just, my mailing address. Send me my check.
All right, dear. Thank you, Lorraine. We'll take a break, hear from our great sponsors. Couple of quick notes, though. July 29th, 1991. We lost a great man, my uncle Tom Portnova. Tommy P checking in on that. And speaking of the Portnova family, Joe Portnova turned 74 yesterday. Tommy's brother and Tom Portnova Sr.'s brother or son. And guess what? And remember I told you about the fight card? I've had my nephew Rocco on about the fight card. He had a serious shoulder injury, which caused the fight to be canceled, but it's Rocco's birthday today. I hope he's on the mend. So happy birthday, Rocco. We'll take a break and be back. Our veterans this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by a true patriot, our man John Basiliga. And he reminds you this weekend is Jazz Weekend at Atera and Sergey's, downtown Scranton. In coordination with the amazing jazz festival throughout downtown Scranton. Friday at Atera, jazz 6 to 8 while you dine. And downstairs at Sergey's, jazz from 7 to 10 with no cover. Saturday, Sergey's has jazz 7 to 10, no cover, and you can dine downstairs with a delicious filet, halibut, or whatever else while listening to your favorite jazz music. Jazz Weekend at Atera and Sergey's. Staff Sergeant Norman Lewandowski. He was 92 when he passed away July 7th. He was from Kingsley. He's survived by his wife of 59 years, Joanne Tiffany Lewandowski. Sergeant Lewandowski was born in Uniondale, graduated from Hartford High School. He became a U.S. Marine and served us proudly in the Korean War, obtaining the rank of sergeant, staff sergeant to be accurate. At the conclusion of his military service, Norm became a self-employed quarry operator. And in 1966, he married the love of his life, Joanne. He also worked for over 30 years for Lenox Township. Norm was a life member of the Elk Mountain VFW, a member of the Disabled American Veterans Mid-Valley. He enjoyed woodworking and using his John Deere equipment. He's also survived by his daughter, his grandchildren, and grandson. Staff Sergeant Norman Lewandowski. James Smallcomb, proud veteran, devoted husband, beloved grandfather. He passed away at age 91 on July 10th. Born in German, he lived a life marked by quiet strength, unwavering loyalty, and a deep love for family and nature. He served us honorably in the Army during the Korean War, carrying the values of service and integrity with him long after his time in uniform. He was a man of tradition, survived by his loving wife of 24 years, Elaine, stepsons, a granddaughter, and a great-grandchildren, as well as other family members. Tragically, preceded in death by a stepdaughter, Tina Nash, and stepson, James McGarry. James Smallcomb, our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga, who reminds you it's Jazz Weekend starting Friday at Atera and Sergey's downtown. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, sunny and hot, chance of a stray shower, 92. Tonight, partly cloudy, 68. Wednesday, cloudy and muggy with showers and thunderstorms likely, 92. Thursday, cloudy and cooler, showers and thunderstorms, 77. So the heat breaks after a day or two. Well, we got to count today, right? Jefferson Airplane. Murph tells us this date. Well, it doesn't have the year here. They moved into the top 10 charts with their first hit. That was their first hit. White Rabbit. Well, here's somebody who doesn't sell or feed rabbits. She feeds the rest of your pets. Rebecca Martino from Stately Pet Supply. We got her back. That means it's Tuesday. How are you, Rebecca?
Bob, I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm doing great, but our air conditioning went here at the store. So when I was on hold, I was listening to your weather forecast, and sunny and hot, and yeah.
Get those fans going. I'm
Sure
not
is.
a big air
We are.
conditioning
Yeah.
fan. I mean, get the big fans. I love those.
So I love the heat. I really do. Summer is too short. I like all the seasons that we have here, but of my favorite season, it is also the shortest. So I get a little grumpy when it's, okay, it's nice to put on a sweatshirt in the fall, and fall is beautiful around here, but I really like summer. And But every now and then when you're working in it like this, and it's just, ugh. And
Well,
my
when the air
makeup's
conditioning
pouring
goes
off my
out. But
face.
so you're having
Yeah.
an air conditioning sale. By the way, you mentioned the sale. Boy, was that great.
Yeah. Thank you for coming to that. You and Chauncey, you guys are, you're always so involved. Thank you. Did you get your rain check bag?
Yes.
I'm just thinking
So,
of that.
so
Okay, good.
here's what they did at Stately Pet Supply. They didn't have the dog food for the Chauncey man. And so they said, well, rain check. You get it. You get the sale price when we get it in. And I went up with Chauncey again later that week, and it was raining out. I said, I'm not letting Chauncey out. He's going to get back in the car and destroy the seats.
Yeah.
So he was mad he couldn't come in the store because he loves the store.
Thank you. Well, he does a great job, and he's really, as sensory overload as the store can be, he does a great job in here. He's just calm. He's mellow. He listens to you. He's sociable. He's not afraid. He's confident and mellow. That's a great combination. He's really a great dog. He is. We like seeing him. Bring him every time.
Well,
We do.
he loves it. He insists.
Yeah. So thank you for being patient with my absence. We were on a little vacation, and when we got back the other day, I had an idea on what we could talk about this week. I don't know if I ever told you, but we have a little hobby farm. It's goats, I have a pig, and rabbits and blah blah blah.
Really?
And I had the goats out in the field, kind of foraging, and they love poison ivy, so fine, have
How
at
about
it.
that?
And they were eating all the forage out there, and all these tall grasses that kind of grow where you're not hitting it with your lawnmower. And we have two dogs too, so I noticed, and I took a video of it that maybe I'll post, but the goats who are herbivores, right? They know the caviar of grasses that they want. They know what they want, and they ignore what they don't want. For some reason, the goats and the dogs were going for the same grasses. My dogs were eating what the goats were eating, and I thought I could bring up how there is concern sometimes when dogs eat grass. So the main thing there to talk about is start at the fork in the road. Is this occasional versus something very, very frequent? Does your dog occasionally eat grass just because maybe they just find it appealing? That's okay. Mm-hmm. We get little cravings for crunchy green things sometimes. It's okay. Dogs are what are called facultative carnivores. They thrive mostly on meat, but can do very well, of course, with plant matter, like you always find in kibble and things like that. So it's okay. Don't be startled and think your dog has this horrible deficiency or there's something, really, some impending doom that your dog ate a blade of grass. It's okay. So occasional, no problem. But if you're seeing something much more frequent where they're eating it incessantly, there's vomiting afterwards, they just can't get enough of it, that's a little bit more worrisome. That's something that I would absolutely examine the diet. Maybe your dog is trying to appease a reflux. We know if we have acid reflux. The signs in the dog are a little different. A lot of times they lick their lips or they extend their neck out, kind of like you and I would kind of, pound your chest with your fist a little and go, that's kind of what a dog would do instead, is extend their neck, lick their lips. And there are some other reflux signs too, but that's not a bad idea to get your dog checked by the vet. Take a look at the diet, and we have tons of things that we can add to the diet that will appease that. I just want something leafy and green. I just need a little bit of a Pepto-Bismol buffer in my dog's food. We can do all things like that, but occasionally, don't worry about it. More frequently, I would see your vet on something like that. Not a bad idea.
And that's one of the things I have that acid reflux, and you don't know. You don't recognize it in your pets necessarily,
right,
or even think that they could have it, but they do. Interesting.
Yeah.
All
It could be a silent little thing. They sit on a couch and they're feeling it, but they're not even necessarily doing anything differently. So,
yeah. Important stuff.
One of the signs.
All right. Well, thank you, Rebecca. Check her out. Visit them at Stately Pet Supply at State Street in Clark Summit. Good stuff. I just go for all my advice there. That's where I go.
Thanks very much, Bob. Thanks for always being such a great customer, too. Really, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rebecca. Rebecca Martino. We'll take a break and be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. na, na, na. You never know when Bulldog's going to turn on the mic. And so I start singing the song, and then I've got to watch. When that red light goes on, I've got to hush. Just like Deep Purple. They released their hit Hush this date 1968. Bob Cordaro back, and of course, I don't know, Bulldog. I thought we played a little too much of the Charles and Diana wedding. I was never enthralled with either one of them. And Lady Diana Spencer sounds like she was making a hostage tape, which I guess she was. So maybe for that reason alone, it was worth it, you know. Bob Cordaro back on the eponymous program. Somebody texts in, I'm not a big jazz fan, but I might go to a Terra 519 for the hell of it. And then they say the hell of it. You know, I don't listen to jazz consistently. I don't. I don't have one jazz recording. I don't listen to the jazz station on Sirius. This is a different level to watch it performed live throughout downtown Scranton. It's an event. And the quality of the music is remarkable, number one. But, yeah, I'm not a jazz guy. I don't consider myself a jazz person. But this weekend coming, and the events they have at Atera and Sergei's, you're going to love it. Even if it's just background music to you. So, yeah. Somebody, Bob, LTS every day. My Siberian Huskies eat the grass as a little snack. Does that make them sick? And they are healthy. Trust me, I clean up the yard daily. Okay. Yeah, I never thought about it. But it's good to hear that with moderation, like anything else, I guess if you see your dog drinking more than 3 or 4 martinis a day, it would be the same thing. But yeah, that's why I love having Rebecca on, because I find something out and learn something new. I learn something new every time I go to the store, too. Good stuff. Well, let's go to the blower, because our man Mike from Bloomsburg is on. How are you, Mike?
Hey, I'm doing well. Yourself?
Great.
Hey, I wanted to report on something that I saw yesterday. I'm walking down the street, Main Street through Bloomsburg, and it used to be the McGee Hotel. You may be familiar with that.
Oh, yeah, that was famous. Sure.
Yep, very famous. Spent a lot of time there. Student housing, pretty much, okay, up on top. And as I'm walking down the street, I see a line of young people, single file, walk out the door of what used to be student housing, and then just walk right across Main Street. There were 7 of them, and they pile into a car that's no bigger than a Yugo, okay? And then when they pull away, I see that it's right in front of the courthouse, parked right in front of a fire hydrant with the curb painted red and a sign next to it saying no parking, okay? So the point I'm trying to make is these people came from somewhere else, whether it was, Allentown, Bethlehem, or whatever, Philadelphia, or maybe they're part of the migration that came here and were put here due to declining student enrollment and declining population. And, you know how that works, I think. I do, too. I'm not sure most people do, but they get transplanted here. And I don't know who's paying. But the point I'm trying to make is there was no respect for the laws of crossing at crosswalks, parking in front of fire hydrants, parking, and So I just happened to turn on the TV last evening, and a guy named Charlie Kirk was on. It's on a channel I never watch, and he just popped up. And across the bottom of the screen, it said, immigration without assimilation is invasion. So basically what he's saying is if they bring their culture here and do not become Americans, it's only a matter of time before that culture gets embedded, due to demographics possibly. And I think I had a little vision of potentially the future for the United States. Walk right in front of my eyes.
You can see it in Europe. It's done. I mean, it's already visible. The results are already patent. And these people don't care, which is why I advocate legal immigration, because it has assimilation incorporated into it. And the great thing about legal immigration is that while we add to their culture and understanding of ours, they add to ours. And the American culture gets better and stronger and continues to be vibrant. But there's a reason these people want illegal immigration. Not only because they're idiots and they're children and they're emotional infants who want immediate gratification, but on top of that, they want to cover up for their own failures by having these people in the census so they don't lose congressional and state rep seats, period.
And the electoral votes.
Yep.
The electoral college, too. And, my position is this. My wife and I brought 3 children into this country. We had to have signed affidavits that we had the money to educate them, to house them, to feed them. And we had to prove that, we were worthy of bringing people into this country before they could be here and become citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And yet today, I don't have a job anymore. I have Social Security and a small pension, but I'm being required to contribute money to Washington to help pay up to $400 billion a year to support Biden's invasion. And it really kind of irks me off when that money should be going to rebuilding this country and making it strong again and turn around the decline that I think most people can see before their very eyes.
Yeah. Amen. Michael, always a pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care, Bob.
All right.
Bye.
My Bicardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 11:02:47. And I remind you that you don't just get Bicardo Jeweler watches at Bicardo Jewelers. You get Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army, and Seiko. So you know what time it is. We'll be back after the news. right, good morning, everyone. My Ricardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 11:10:17 here in the great Northeast. This beautiful but sweltering Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show, and I am he. And it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man, John Basiliga, who reminds you it's Jazz Weekend at Atera 519 in Sergey's, downtown Scranton. We honor the brave who made us and kept us free. People are like veterans we lost this year, but celebrate this day like James Smallacombe, German, Staff Sergeant Norman Lewandowski, Kingsley, Michael Rushton, Parsons section of Wilkes-Barre, Brian Diaz, Nicholson, Jay Smith, Salem Township, and Chickshinny, and Thomas Jules McHenry, Stillwater. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you a sanctuary of sanity for the balance of this hour, because we're committed to common sense. We've had enough of nonsense. Yeah, we're back. Tom from Dallas texts in. He says, LTS, he says, the American people voted for a loudmouth who they think was Hitler with 34 felonies and a checkered past over Democrats and their policies. That's how bad the Democrat policies are. Not only did the Democrats lose huge, they are at their lowest approval rating in my life. Tom, you're right. Trump could almost lose the election. I was saying this to people. With the assassination attempt and the gumption that Trump showed at that event and after, I'm up in the air. But if you guys remember, I said Trump's the only Republican who can lose this election. And I said it over and often. Now, the funny part is, and the thing that's got to be dealt with, and unless world events like COVID conspire against Trump, but by the way, he'll handle it much better this time. His presidency is just going to go out as one of the most awesome presidencies. Can that carry a J.D. Vance or a DeSantis into the White House? Because these left-wing lunatics are not going away. I still can't even believe it when I think about it. How could they possibly, with a straight face, the Democrat Party, talk about their idiocy and pretend that it could work? I really don't understand it. You'd have to be so stupid that words can't describe you to think that creeping socialism and outright communism and open borders and unfettered criminality and division by race could conceivably be good for this country. Yet that is the core of their policies. Oh, let's throw in a little transgender insanity. Let's throw in abortion even after you're born. Let's throw in their core philosophy. Oh, and that spending money you don't have doesn't matter. And being weak on defense. And supporting terrorism and terrorists like the Iranian mullahs, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis is a good thing. Capitulating to China on everything, another good thing. Wow. Crazy stuff. Hey, let's go to Razor from Peckville. Hi, Razor.
Hi, how you doing? All right, so your last caller, if he wants to see exactly what he's imagining, tell him go to the Bronx. I grew up in the Bronx. I don't know if you ever heard of the Morris Park section. And all the storefronts have Islamic alphabet. There are women walking around. You know what the old-time nuns used to look like with the thing over their head and the long black draping dress? But these are women have the same thing, except they're covered, their face is covered. The only thing that shows through is their eyes. Walking all over the streets, holding hands with their kids. It is. I went to there's a restaurant there called The Pine, Frankie and Johnny's Pine. It's a really great Italian restaurant. As a matter of fact, Morris Park is a big, gigantic Italian neighborhood in the Bronx.
Still?
Well, I'm telling you, you walk. I was talking to one of the waiters, and I said, I grew up right around the corner from here. I grew up coming to this place when there was just a little bar with a little seating in the back. And he said, well, go out there now and take a look. He goes, it's all Islamic. And I had been there before, and I've seen it. All the storefronts there on the main streets and everything. It's like real. It's I think the neighborhood that Jenny Lope or whatever her name is, Jenny from the block. That's where she's from. That area, kind of. Every bit of it. Every storefront has the Islamic alphabet in there. It's all. So let this guy go. Go look. He's going to see exactly what he was talking about with you on
now,
the radio.
I make a distinction, and it's a critical distinction in my view, between Muslims and Islamists. And Islamists are the existential threat to our culture, to Christianity, to Judaism, to atheism, to name it, religious freedom and cultural survival of it States.
And I don't doubt that that's mixed in with those neighborhoods. I'm certainly not saying that every one of them.
That's the scary part. It is mixed. It is mixed in. But the Muslims that I got to know and that I continue to know are an important part of the community. They're as conservative as we are. In fact, more so in many ways. Yeah.
That's true of any group. True of any group. Even, Mafia. Most of the Italians were great people. Okay? So you could say that of any group. It is totally taken over at least that section.
So how do we, that's going to be the question. How do we do two things? Number one, convince the vast majority of Muslims who are not Islamists to acculturate, become part of this country, and to oppose radicalism within their own religion. That's number one. Okay. And number two, how do we separate and get rid of the Islamist fanatics? I don't know those answers right now.
Good luck there. But somebody just brought up that you have to assimilate into this country, right? You were just talking about that.
Yep.
And I don't know if it was you that I heard this from, but yes, most of the Muslims are wonderful people, but you never hear them talking bad about the Islamists.
That's the problem.
Ever.
That's the problem.
That's a big problem.
They're not calling out their own kind.
I don't care how good you are. If you're not going to speak against it, you might as well be part of it.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree. But it is the issue that we need to confront, because the greatness of America has been multiculturalism. The evil of Islamist radicalism is wiping that out.
Just look at happened in Europe.
Yep.
Okay, it's happened there already. And the Bronx has been taken over. Yeah. Now, I don't know politically, but every
they vote Democrat. In New York City, votes Democrat. Look at Mamdani is liable to be the next mayor, and he's sick lunatic.
Right. That's why he has a chance of winning, because there's a ton of Islamic people, not Islamists, in the Bronx right now. They're going to vote for him.
Yeah.
So just have somebody drive. I drove from where I grew up, from that restaurant, maybe maybe a mile and a half, 2 miles to the Cross Bronx Expressway. Every store had Islamic alphabet on it. Every one of them.
Well.
So, and I'm telling you, you know that part of that is Islamists. Absolutely. And these Muslim people.
We know it has been. I mean, it has been since the first World Trade Center bombing. Yeah. I don't know. We've got to confront it, and we've got to call it out, and we've got to tell the Muslims, you've got to call it out. Thank you, Razor. Always a pleasure, man.
Trump is waking everybody up.
I hope so.
He's waking everybody up to everything. Look at all the things he's done. And the Democrats didn't even think they didn't think that we needed extra electricity for everything that's coming. No, they didn't think one thing about it. Obama, how is he going to bring business here? He had no idea what to do.
No idea.
He had no idea what to do. Trump just does it as a matter of fact.
Yep.
The Democrats don't know a damn thing. Trump comes in. They're trying to kill him. They're trying to get rid of him. He has been the best thing for this country probably in forever.
But you've got, on top of this, though, you've got African-American, Latino, and white Democrats siding with illegal criminal aliens over Americans.
Yep.
We've got they're linking with Islamists. And it's dangerous.
Yeah, and we're turning. Listen, it's a Titanic, and we're trying to make this Titanic turn before we hit that iceberg.
Yep.
And it takes a long time. Everyone's complaining. Oh, Trump didn't get those egg prices to go down. He was in office 2 weeks. It's going to take time to do.
Yeah, well,
stuff.
we've got to start ignoring those people, and people in the middle have to too. They're idiots about the tariffs, about about everything, and it's all working. Thank you, Razor. We got to go. We got to take this break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back. Brandy, Looking Glass is the song, or the artist. Brandy, the song. Number 2 hit, Murph says, this date, 1972. I love that song. I really do. And then 2004, you want to... I was eating... well, I had a banana. I tried... Cutie keeps giving me these pitted fruits that I'm allergic to. It might be a... I don't think it's a... who was... Bulldog, who was the electrician whose wife was poisoning him with the... He's poisoning him with the... Brian Hughes will know. Who's poisoning him? Curly. The poor electrician's wife was poisoning him with the lemonade every day. I don't think Cutie's up to anything nefarious. She's trying to make me healthy. But my ears are itchy. My throat is itchy. I didn't eat all of it. Anyway, between that and I have the banana and then the honey in the peanut butter, the chunky peanut butter is my favorite. So I ate a good amount this morning. And then I got to listen to John Kerry, and I almost vomited in my own. I did vomit in my own mouth. I held it in. Oh my God! This date night, 2004. I'm John Kerry, and I'm reporting for duty, and I will lie to you for the rest of my life. What a disgusting human being. A disgusting excuse for a human being. I'll go even further. Ugh. Unreal. Hey, let's go to Bill from Pittston. Bill, how are you, buddy?
Oh, I love John Kerry, the Frenchman with an Irish name. I don't think there's an ounce of Irish in him.
He's as phony as the day is long. Wow.
You know, when Mark Levin said that the Democrats hate America, I didn't believe it, but I do now.
Yeah.
They're fighting against Trump, you know, when he's had all these things that benefit the whole country, and yet they're going after him for stupid stuff. It just, but anyway, I've read the Quran several times and read commentaries by Muslim clerics. I have a hard time distinguishing between the two, the radicals and the non-radicals, because in the Quran it tells you to be like a wolf in sheep's clothing when you get with mixed company, and you're not supposed to associate with Christians to become friends with them.
Yes.
The other thing is when you look at
but you can look at our own Bible, and you would know it better than me, Bill. You can look at our own Bible for instances like that. That's, again, it was divinely inspired in my view, but written by humans in the end, and their bias were in there.
Not in the New Testament. Nowhere. And
Okay.
Jesus always says, love your enemies. He tells us to love the Muslims.
Yes.
So Jesus is radically opposed to any kind of strike against your enemies.
I concede the point.
The Quran is filled with, look, all you got to do is look up. They say, well, you know, they have Christ they have Jesus in their Quran. Yeah, but he's a heretic. The cross is an abomination to them. They tell you should infiltrate when you get into with a group. Lay low, don't make it. But they're like communists, the radicals. They want to convert the world. Mm-hmm. I've been in dialogues with Muslims, and very uncomfortable because, again, if you look what happens to Christians or infidels, your skin's going to be flailed daily in hell, and then it comes back. I mean, it's like, and they deny the very basis of Christianity, that Jesus died for our sins. So it's really difficult.
I mean, so do Jews, though, for that matter.
What's that?
So do Jews. They deny that Christ, a lot of things about Christ that we believe. They deny he was Lord, all that. The religious differences, I don't, again, I'm going by my experience with the Muslims that I know and knew. They were not anti-anything. That was the experience, a good experience I had with them. So I feel like there's hope, but I will say that they do not step up to their radicals the way they need to. But you can say the same thing about the Democrat Party. They don't stand up to their radicals.
Yeah, but their silence is deafening.
Yeah.
And you know, I have Muslim friends. I really like them, but I've seen, you know, they tell you right in the Quran to go underground and don't. I wonder what they're really thinking when they're saying, I'm sure there's patriotic Muslims that I'll probably regret some of my frustrations with them, because Christ always puts it up to me: love your enemies, love those who hate you. But the thing is, I've read too much of that stuff. Like, there's one insert where if you suspect your wife of cheating on you in the old Quran, not the modified one, some do, you could kill her. So, I mean, read the Quran. I mean,
I have, and there's a lot to be distressed about within it. But there's a lot in the Bible to be distressed about, particularly the Old Testament. So I don't look at it's. This is the question I pose: how do we separate good Muslims from the Islamist radicals? How do we get them to stand up to them for us and with us? And that's going to be the question that determines the survivability of the United States, Europe, and beyond. It's an existential question for world culture and freedom.
Yeah, I think we should give everybody the benefit of the doubt till otherwise proven. But at the same time, keep both your eyes open, because you don't know if they're going underground with what they're really thinking, or if they really believe these things. And you can see it by, families, well-established families. The girls become westernized, and they put a hit squad. The family takes her out. So it is a very difficult thing to discern. And my Muslim friends, I get along great with them. And but at the same time, I keep wondering, what are you really thinking? I don't know.
Well, ask them. Thank you, Bill. We'll take a break. My Bacardo Jewelers Watch says 11:34:37. We'll be back on the Bob Cordaro Show. Our veterans this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by John Basiliga, who reminds you it's Jazz Weekend coming up at Atera and Sergey's. Friday at Atera, Jazz 6 to 8 while you dine. Downstairs, right after that, 7 to 10, Jazz no cover in the great Sergey's nightclub. Saturday, Sergey's has Jazz again from 7 to 10, no cover. You can dine downstairs with a full, delicious filet or halibut dinner, listening to your favorite jazz music. Finishing up the weekend, Sunday at Atera, the jazz brunch from 10 to 2. You're going to love them, I'm telling you. Jay Smith, Air Force veteran, active volunteer. He was 86 when he died July 16th. He was from Salem Township and Shikshinny. Born Berwick, graduated from Berwick Area High School. Served us in the U.S. Air Force from 1956 to 1960 as an air traffic controller. Very proud of his service, including the time spent in Iceland. Jay married the former Dawn Bergsman, and together they shared 65 years of marriage. Jay always had a love of cars, and he was self-employed as a mechanic for many years before working at PPL Talent Energy. He was involved with the Shikshinny Volunteer Fire Company, Shikshinny Volunteer Fire Police, Luzerne County Emergency Management, the Boy Scouts, and a former Northwest Area School District board member. Along with his wife, Jay Smith is survived by 3 children and 3 grandchildren. Jay Smith. Thomas McHenry from Stillwater. He died after more than 100 years on this earth, July 1st. Born in Stillwater, April 27, 1925. The youngest of 5 siblings. At age 17, unable to fight alongside his friends in the war, he still signed up. Due to blindness in one eye, he traveled to Panama City, Florida, where he worked as an electrician wiring Liberty ships. He returned home to PA in 45, married Vera Bowman, and fathered 2 children. Ever curious and ready to try something new, T.J. McHenry was a truck driver, milkman, boat builder, carpenter. He established himself in the town of Benton, and as an electrician, he worked for Pratt & Whitney, Hughes Aircraft, Bechtel, and he wired nuclear power plants across the country, including the Susquehanna Steam Electric Station in Berwick. More than anything, TJ was an explorer. He was easy to love, his family says. Always a joke. He remembered the punchline to every single one. He rarely reflected on religion, but when he did, he had this to say: if you loved your neighbor as yourself, you wouldn't need the rest of the commandments. For those who knew him and appreciated him, 100-year-old T.J. McHenry, his passing, the world lost a bit of its color. Preceded in death by many family members, including Betty Zane, the mother of his children. He's survived by his sister, though, a daughter, a son, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and other family members. T.J. McHenry, our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga, Atera 519, and Sergey's, who remind you this whole weekend is Jazz Weekend. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, sunny and hot with a chance of a stray shower, 92. Tonight, partly cloudy, 68. Wednesday, cloudy and muggy with showers and thunderstorms, likely 92. Thursday, cloudy and cooler with showers and thunderstorms, 77 degrees. the disgusting, sickening Biden administration. We played you the tape of the official who admitted that 65,000 calls from children illegally immigrated into this country went unanswered. Children were thrown to the wilds. Is that compassion? No, that's evil. Evil, evil. Don't forget, guys. Don't forget what the Democrats and the Biden administration gave us. Trump's cleaning up the mess, and they're fighting that. They're sick, evil people. What else do you call that? To turn a blind eye to that. Alice Cooper, a great American, by the way. Murph says this date's 72. Went from number 10 to number 7 with his hit School's Out. Long after school was out. How about that? Hey, let's go quickly to the blower. We got Max from Dixon City on this Cincinnati mob attack. I don't understand. I don't know enough about it. Tell me what you know.
Well, there's about 80 shows going on the internet right now about it. Jason Whitlock, he's a black journalist, and he's called it 2 things in 2 shows yesterday and today. He called yesterday it a lynching, okay, and today he's calling it the Black KKK. Okay, this is serious stuff.
So is what happened, and this is what I'm trying to what was the origin of the violence? It was a group, whether they were affiliated with each other or not, of African Americans. And what was it? A white guy with his date? Is that what it was? I don't know.
What
who
it was
the 2
is
white
like a
people
festival
were.
in Cincinnati.
Okay.
I had never been. Some kind of festival, and things happen. You know, I don't know. The white guy looked wrong at the black guy. Said something happened. You know, guy's really drunk. You know, and how many times have we dealt with this in our entire lives? Like drunk people, you just kind of ignore them if they're not a threat, whatever. You know, just idiots. Well, anyway, it escalated to the point where it was 1-on-1, and all of a sudden it turned to 20-on-1. The guy getting absolutely pummeled from every angle, and then his woman, whether it be wife or girlfriend or innocent bystander, came in to help stop it. She got clocked by 2 black women. When she turned around, the black guy punched her right in the face, knocked her right out, hit her head on the pavement. Her mouth is bleeding. She's filmed. I mean, I saw the film on Sunday night. I actually showed it to some liberal people, and they said, "Oh, you believe everything you see? That's AI."
What's the matter with these people? Like,
listen,
why don't they want to live in
problem.
reality? Max, you've brought a bigger point into this. Why don't people want to live in the reality that exists? Bill Maher, of all people, is willing to live in reality. My God.
It's the Dunning-Kruger effect. Everyone has to look that up. These people, they've been sheltered their entire lives. They're very educated people with means, okay? They've been brainwashed by the media. They've been brainwashed by propaganda.
Yeah.
But back to the Cincinnati incident. So, you know, the police got, you know, the video and everything. They're like 100. They counted 100 people filming it. One person called 911. One person. Everybody else is busy filming it. Everyone else, 20 people were joining in, beating these helpless people. I mean, I've seen fights. I've been in fights. I've done things. At some point, you call it quits because, you know, you can't kill somebody. Well, they tried to kill these people. It was clearly evident with the stomping on the head on the ground. That's a big no-no. I know the self-defense law. I was involved in that. Someone hit me first. I hit them 10 times. The state police said, "Hey, you went over an abundance." Okay, so you can't go past a certain point. I know that for a fact. Okay, so these people, it was an all-out lynching. That's what they're calling it, not my words. It was an attack, and it was racially motivated. And the police in Cincinnati now are the lady who's in charge. It's a woman, probably a DEI hire. She's going backwards on this. be careful because we might not see any charges here.
Well, let's follow it. Thank you, Max. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bloomberg Money Minute coming up because my Ricardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 11:50 on the nose. Hey, shout out a guy my brother Mike ran across, Tom Venero, up there on Fellow Street, Scranton. Thanks for being with us. You're part of this large dysfunctional family. We love it. Long Tongue's cool woman in a black dress. That's the Hollies, number 10. This date, 1972. And we're going to finish for my guy Tommy P. and his family, celebrating Uncle Tom's loss, but his life on the anniversary of his loss back in 91. And Joey Port's birthday today. And, of course, our great cousin, my great cousin Jude Portnova. The Beatles. Murph says they started recording their hit Hey Jude at Abbey Road Studios, London, this date, 1968. Somebody texted in, test, got blocked, have to text again. Well, the text is working for you, my man. Somebody else, Bob, I guess you don't know that you can become allergic to anything at any time. No, I do know that, actually. Your body says you have enough of whatever. But no, it's not a new allergy. It's an old one. And Cutie, is this a Curly situation? I don't know. Bulldog, right? We're not going to go that far at this point. But you better keep your eye open for me, okay? We don't have poison lemonade. I shouldn't be laughing about that. Anyway, James Smallcombe. Staff Sergeant Norman Lewandowski. Smallcombe of German. Lewandowski of Kingsley. Brian Diaz of Nicholson. Thomas McHenry of Stillwater. Michael Rushton, Parsons section of Wilkes-Barre. And Jay Smith, Salem Township and Chickasha. Our great veterans today, brought to you by John Basiliga. And remember, it's Jazz Weekend coming up. Make your plans. Atera, 519 and Sergey's 519 Linden Street for both of them. Something about Lizzie Maggie had patents for a game called the Landlord Game. I don't know who Lizzie Maggie is. I don't know. I can't figure out your text. My apologies. Well, as we head to the top of the hour, the Sue Henry Show next, the Rob O'Donnell Show after that, we've got to say adios because when the two hands, and this is not a digital watch, the two hands of my Picardo's watch tells me are both on that top block, that means it's noon. That means we've got to go. That means it's time to adjourn this meeting of the Club for Common Sense. So let's do that and tell you, have a great afternoon. God willing, I'll be with you tomorrow. Same time, same station. Have a great afternoon, guys.